Alright guys, so we're back with another video. So in this video I'm going to show you guys how to create authorized routes. And pretty much in the last video we really just saved users to the database, but we didn't really do much on the front end, because you're probably wondering, well, yes, right now we're able to, authorize ourselves with, Discord's OAuth 2 strategy, right? And we're able to save the people who authorize themselves to our database. But what exactly can we do with it? Like, what's the whole point of this? So don't worry, we're about to get to the fun stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me just show you something real quick. So I'm at localhost 3000 right now. I'm gonna go ahead and log in to our application. Now look over here on the right hand side, we have no cookies. Okay, and notice how like everything is empty because we have nothing saved on this for this domain. Okay, so let me go ahead. Before I explain anything else, let me go ahead and just authorize myself. So we're going to do localhost port 3000/auth. Okay, so this is going to take us to the Discord website. So we're away from our application, but we're trying to authorize our users for our platform. So on the Discord server, right, you're basically telling Discord, hey, look, this is me. I am Sty, #0885, and I'm saying I want to give authorization for said application, in this case our Express app, to access my username and avatar, know what servers I'm in, and etc. So I say, hey, look, this is me, I'm going to authorize. Okay, and what happens is on the back end, right, on the back end, they're making a request to the Discord platform. That's what the Discord strategy does, and it gives you an access token and a refresh token, and I've explained what those two things are in the previous videos. And pretty much you can use those tokens, or you can use the access token to make requests to certain endpoints to get information on like guilds, users, and etc. Right? But we're not going to worry about those things right now. The only thing that we're going to worry about is this new cookie that I received. Notice how we have this really long string in our application in the DevTools, right? We have name and the value. This is a cookie, okay? And this cookie is what is being used to persist our session, okay? So every single time when we're making a request to the server, we're basically sending this cookie to our Express app. And Express, well, Passport itself is actually going to do the serialization and deserialization to make sure that we know who's actually, making requests to the server, okay? And we're able to see if the user is logged in or not. So let me actually just go ahead and just comment this out here. So that's our cookie. And let me actually just clear this out. I'm going to first we can actually change the name of the session, because by default, it's called connect.sid. We're going to name it Discord OAuth 2, or we'll do Discord OAuth 2. We'll save it. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh, and obviously we're going to just clear our application, we're going to clear cookies, and we're going to go back to the /auth. Wait, what happened here? Okay. So we're going to authorize ourselves again. Right, whoops. We're authorizing ourselves again. Okay, we're saying this is me and I want to allow access for this application. Click authorize. See how we get a new cookie? Right? We get a new cookie, and it's a different cookie this time. Where was it? I may have forgot to save the value, but it's a different, I'm pretty sure it's a different value this time. I mean, we can try it again, we can try this again. But notice how now the name of the cookie is discord.oauth2. We changed the name, right? So if I wanted to clear the cookies again, and if I wanted to authorize myself again, we're going to get a new cookie this time. And you can see that it's a different cookie every single time. Okay, now again, I know this might not seem like any value to you, but don't worry, I'm going to show you what exactly this does, and you're going to understand all of the magic that happens with web applications. Okay, so we have this cookie, and you can also see that the expiration date is a day from now, right? It says 12:44, 37 seconds. That's in UTC time. We're in Eastern Standard Time, so it's a 4-hour difference. But yeah, it pretty much expires tomorrow, basically. Okay, so we're authorized, but let's say for example, when we're authorized, right, we want to send them to a certain route. Okay, so what I'm going to do, oh, I saved it here, my bad. I shouldn't have saved it there. I should have saved it here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and send them to a different route. So we're not going to, so when they successfully authenticate themselves, we're going to send them to the dashboard route, which makes sense too, because if you log into, an application like Facebook, you get sent to your timeline, or not your timeline, your main page that you can see. So we're going to send them to the dashboard, and we're going to get rid of this request handler. Okay, so now watch this. So I haven't implemented the dashboard route, but when I try to log in, it's going to say cannot get dashboard because so we successfully authenticated, but we just can't access the dashboard route because we have not implemented it yet. And that's what we're going to do right now. So to create a route, like I did in, I think, video number 3, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go into our routes folder, and we're going to create dashboard.js because this route is going to serve different data. So we're going to do const. We're going to create a router by saying const router equals require express dot router, and then we're just going to export this router so we can import it in the app.js file. And we're basically just doing the same thing that we did in the previous video, the last couple of videos, where we created the auth route and we are requiring that file from the routes folder. And then down here, we're going to register our route by saying app.use. And we want to tell Express, hey, look, for the dashboard route /dashboard, I want you to use the dashboard router. Okay, and that's going to correspond to this router over here. So every request that we make to the /dashboard route is going to be handled by this router. Okay, so now if I want to handle the /dashboard route, we can just do router.get /, not /dashboard, because we registered /dashboard over here. So we just do / over here, and let's just do a send to 100. Now if we try this again, it's gonna now recognize our route, and it's gonna say okay, perfect. Now there's still one more issue. What if I wanted this route to only be accessed by people who are logged in? Because right now, look, the cookie that we have over here is what is going to keep track of who's logged in, who's visiting our website, and whatnot, right? But without this cookie, I can still access this dashboard route, and I don't want that, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the user is actually authenticated. And it's actually very easy to check if they're authenticated or not. So in Express, we can apply a middleware function, right? We can do something like this, and I'm going to show you one sec. We can create a function called function is authorized, and this function is going to take in 2 parameters, or 3, I'm sorry, request, response, and next. Okay. Actually, I'm going to make this a, actually we'll leave it alone. Okay, so it's the same thing as the callback function that we've been using for all of our routes. The only difference is that it takes in a 3rd parameter. Okay, so this 3rd parameter next is basically going to be called when we're done, when we're pretty much done executing. Okay, so what we're going to do in this is authorized function is we're going to go ahead and say if the request object. Remember, the request object has information about the request, right? What the user is passing in when they're requesting our API, our server. Okay, and what Passport does before it even hits this route is it's going to do all of the serialization, and it's going to attach the user object to request. Okay, you're not seeing the IntelliSense pickup here, but if we go inside here and if we do rec.user, right, this is the user object that is being attached from the Passport. Okay. So if we do if rec.user, watch this. User is logged in. And we can even log the user too. Okay. So if this rec.user value is not undefined, that means the user actually is logged in. The session exists. If the session exists, that means the user is logged in. Okay? That's very important to understand. I know it might sound really confusing, especially if you're a first-time user of sessions and stuff, but To make it clear, if the session does not exist, that means the user should not be able to see, the private routes. Okay, so if it doesn't exist, we're just gonna say, hey, look, user is not logged in, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna redirect them to the slash route, which is nothing right now, but later on we'll fix it for later. Okay, and if the user is logged in, we're just gonna say next. Okay, and pretty much this is, hey, look, go to the next function. Right, the next function is going to be this request handler. So this function is basically a middleware function that can do its own checks. Okay, middleware is just basically a function, or some function calls or chain of functions that you can apply before actually doing the final step. And in the final step, what we want here is sending the user data, sending the user information. Okay, so we're going to pass in this function down here. We're not going to invoke it. We're just going to pass in the function declaration here, or not declaration, the name of the function here. And what's going to happen is we're going to reference router.get slash, or we're going to reference slash dashboard. This function is going to be hit first, and if the user exists, exists on the request object, we're going to call the next function, and we're going to go back over here. So I want you to pay attention very closely. So watch this. I'm refreshing. Notice how it says cannot get. I think I deleted the cookie before I went into here, but yeah, let me reauthorize myself again. So let's reauthorize ourselves. Okay, let's say authorized. Good, we have our cookie. Now look in the logs. See, let's start from the beginning. Look, connected to MongoDB, user is not logged in, user exists. Serialize. Okay, so user is not logged in was from when we tried to access the dashboard route, but it didn't work, right? Now we access the dashboard route now, and it says user exists. Okay, serialize, deserializing, user is logged in. Okay, user is logged in. What do? We log the user to the console. Okay, and you can see we have our, this is just basically the MongoDB data, the MongoDB instance, or the document. Okay, you never want to actually log this to the console, and you never actually want to send, like, so if you have like sensitive data here, you never want to send it to the client. Okay, and yeah, and then after that, we're calling next, and we're going into this request handler function, this callback function here, and we're sending 200 to the client. Okay, and let's just destroy the session. You can pretty much just clear cookies. This works the same with any website. If, let's say, you're on Facebook, if you go and clear cookies, it's going to log you out of Facebook. Remember, cookies are a way to keep track of the user state, to see if they're logged in, see what kind of items they have in their shopping cart, see what they're ordering, etc. If I clear it, if I refresh, notice how when I refresh the page, it didn't take me back to the dashboard. It brought me to cannot get, right? It brought me to the main route, the slash route. And notice how over here it's saying user is not logged in. Okay, I really hope that makes sense, because this is very important to understand, and that's pretty much the gist of it, right? If the user is not logged in, well, we don't want them to access this route, so we're going to send them back to the main route, and we don't have the main route set up. Okay, so don't worry so much about it for now. Well, we'll set up like a guest route later. Okay, but yeah, hopefully this makes sense. This is pretty much an easy way to create authorized routes, and we can do the same thing too. We can create a dashboard slash, I don't know, settings, right? Maybe the user wants to change some stuff. So we just want to make sure that we pass in the is authorized middleware function every single time, right? And we can just say, hey, look, if the user is authorized, then we're going to send them this 200 status. Okay, so now you're going to notice something. If I refresh the page, if I actually go to dashboard right now, it's going to say can I get, because we have to authorize ourselves again. We're going to authorize, we're going to go into dashboard. But as right now, let's say, for example, if I do this, let's clear this, right? If I refresh, we cannot access dashboard, but if I can still access slash settings. Or wait a minute. Oh wait, I'm sorry. It's slash settings. See? So we just need to make sure we apply the middleware function right there. Okay, and again, we can create a whole bunch of routes, and we can choose which ones we want protected. Okay, and yeah, that is pretty much it. So I guess that's pretty much it for this video. In the next video, I'm going to show you guys how to save session data, or not session data, I'm going to show you guys how to use a session store, and I'll explain a little bit more in the next video. So yeah, I don't want to put too much in one video. This video, the whole point was to understand how cookies work, understand really what's going on with Passport, understand how to create authorized routes and why they're important. And yeah, so I hope you guys learned a lot, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.